श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste to all of you. So we'll continue the Tattavabodha class. So we had just finished the last of the 4 sadhanas, sadhana chatushtayam. So we will chant first as before, and anybody else who has not got a chance to chant, yeah, Swapna ji, go ahead, unmute yourself. So we'll chant from 111 from Samadhanam. Before that, Vasudevendra Yogindram
Vasudevendra Yogindram
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Tattvabodho Bhidiyate
Tattvabodho Vidhiyate
Samadhanam Kim
Samadhanam Kim
Chittaikagrata
Chittaikagrata
Mumukshutvam Kim
Mumukshutvam Kim
Moksho me bhuyat
Moksho me bhuyat
iti ichha
Iti ichha
etat
Etat
sadhana chatushtayam
Sadhana chatushtayam
tataha
Tataha
tattva vivekaha
Tattva vivekaha
tattva vivekasya
Tattva vivekasya
adhikarinah bhavanti
Adhikarina bhavanti
tattva vivekah kaha.
Tattva vivekakaha.
So tattva vivekaha kaha is pronounced as tattva vivekah kaha.
Tattva vivekakaha.
Atma satyam
Atma satyam
tad anyat sarvam
Tadanyat sarvam
mithyeti
Mithyeti
Atma kaha
Atma kaha
Sthula sukshma
Stula sukshma
Karana sharirad
Karana sharirad
Vyatiriktah
व्यतिरिक्तः
पंचकोशातीतः
पञ्चकोशातीतः
सन्
सन्
अवस्थात्रय साक्षी
अवस्थात्रयसाक्षी
सच्चिदानंद रूपः सन्
सच्चिदानन्दरूपः सन्
यस्तिष्ठति
यस्तिष्ठति
स आत्मा.
स आत्मा.
Good. So we will chant the 113 etat sadhana chatushtayam. Etad
एतद्
sadhana chatushtayam
साधनचतुष्टयम्
ततः
ततः
तत्त्वविवेकस्य
तत्त्वविवेकस्य
अधिकारिणः
अधिकारिणः
भवन्ति. Okay, unmute yourself or mute yourself. So last class primarily we saw that last of the 4 sadhanas, mumukshutvam. First one was vivekaha, second was vairagyaha or viragaha, third was a group of six forms of wealth, as it were, 6 accomplishments, shamadhi shatka sampatti. Fourth one was mumukshutvam. So we saw that mumukshutvam was a directed, intense desire for moksha, which is born from some clarity, of course, and which is not some casual interest in our own life. It is a desire that consumes me, a desire that is the number one desire in my life. That kind of a desire is called mumukshutvam. A desire for moksha is called mumukshutvam. Okay, we saw that. Then now the author is summarizing, and she is saying etat sadhana chatushtayam. This is sadhana chatushtayam that I introduced in the beginning of the text. When I wrote the text like that, she is saying etat sadhana chatushtayam. This is the 4-fold qualifications. Then he says tataha. Tataha means from there. That is a literal meaning. From that point. So from that point means what? From that point of gaining these qualifications. From that point. Once I have gained these qualifications, then what happens? Bhavanti. Bhavanti is the verb in this line. Bhavanti means will be. Will be. What will be? Adhikarinaha bhavanti. Adhikarinaha bhavanti. Adhikari. So this word adhikari has some meanings in general language. Ye adhikari hai, wo adhikari hai. This kind of adhikari and all we say. Means a person with authority. That is the normal meaning of this word adhikari. Here we can interpret it differently. It is not somebody who has authority and all that. In a way you can say one who has authority, but more importantly, a person who has the necessary qualifications. One who is now qualified for something else. Qualified for what? That also she says, Tattvavivekasya adhikarinaha bhavanti. These people who have these fourfold qualifications, they are now qualified for Tattva Viveka. Okay, they are qualified to embark on the study of Tattva Viveka. That is what the author is saying. Tattva Viveka, Tattva generally, it can mean many things. Again, Tasya Bhavam Tattvaha. It is a literal meaning of the word Tattvaha. Tasya Bhavam. Tasya Bhavaha. Its quality. Any quality is called Tattvam. That is a literal translation. Tattvam. But in Shastram, the word Tattvam has a much more specific meaning. And Tattvam means truth. Truth of what you are seeking. Truth of this world, truth of myself. That Tattvam. Tattva Vivekasya. So Viveka, he brings in Viveka. So the discriminative understanding of truth. So we saw the word Viveka earlier as Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, if you recall. Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. Not some ordinary Viveka about which food is good for me. Not that kind of Viveka, even though Viveka is needed there also. But here Viveka applied to Nitya Vastu versus Anitya Vastu. So that kind of Viveka, a discriminative inquiry, that inquiry leading to the knowledge of truth is called Tattva Viveka. A discriminative inquiry leading to something. It has to, an inquiry should always lead to some kind of, some result. And that result here is Jnanam. Atma Tattvam. So Atma Tattva Vivekaha is what the author says. One is qualified to do that discriminative inquiry leading to truth. Okay, that is what is being said here in these two sentences. So we can relate this to two various pursuits we have. Simply, if you say I am going somewhere, we're all going on a trip right now. We are going on a camping trip. So now we are going on a camping trip means, okay, you have to decide when, where. You have to plan it out. Camping where, you have to book some places. All that is done. You have to decide what kind of travel it's going to be. Is it going to involve flight, or is it train, or is it a bus, or we are going to sit in our car and go. All these things are partially car, partially train, partially something else. All this planned out. Then we have to say, what are we going to pack? Some special things are there. Camping trip means some special things that you normally don't pack may have to be packed. So food, some extra provisions of food may be there, because camping trip generally means it is there in some kind of a wilderness where there are not supposed to be all these shops and all that. So you have to stock up. So I equip these things. When I have a goal in mind, we have to equip ourselves with a lot of things. This equipping is what is being talked about here. This sadhana chatushtayam is a way of equipping ourselves. If I want a PhD, some people, I am amazed. Some of these children, when I talk to, they tell me even by the time they are in 9th or 10th, they say, I want to do a PhD. Even when I was in college, I did not know what a PhD was those days. And research and all they were talking about, and I didn't know what research was. What is research? And these boys and girls already are doing internship, and they have entered labs, and they are shadowing doctors, and they are doing all kinds of things that I couldn't imagine in my times. So the boy says, I want to do PhD. So clarity is there. Look at the beauty. So much clarity is there. And already he has an idea of what area he wants to do this PhD in. And so he's equipping himself now. What courses I have to take, which college I have to go to, also beginning to think about. Nice. By the time if you're in 10th, you can think about all this. Big blessing. So equipping oneself. That person already has an idea. What are the things I need to get a PhD in this particular subject? Very clear. So here also we are equipping ourselves. The study of Vedanta has to be fruitful, not a casual study. That is why sadhana chatushtayam is mentioned. One can say, I'm studying all these things, Bhagavad Gita is there, and Upanishads are there. I've been studying for the last so many years. Nothing has happened. Kuch nahi hua. I'm not able to understand. That possibility is there. So, like you give me a book, somebody is interested in Sanskrit, and you give them this book, Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi is the name of the set of sutras written by Maharshi Panini. If at all you can talk about the first grammarian the world ever had, it must be Panini Maharshi. And he writes, the language Sanskrit was already there, Vedas were already there, people were writing in Sanskrit, people were chanting and talking in Sanskrit, and he decided we need a grammar. There is a grammar, obviously, it's very obvious. Ramaha vanam gacchati, Rama goes to the forest, all that is there. But there is no formal grammar. All these forms are there. Gacchati, goes, patati, reads, namati, worships. All these are there. But there is no grammar that formally says from nam, you have to form a word in the third person singular namati. It becomes namati. Bhaktaha namati. Devotee worships. So that way of forming was not there. People just learned the language and used it. So he wrote this big 4,000 sutras he wrote. Sutras means rules. Like in algebra, geometry, rules are there. He wrote 4,000 rules. Basically what he has done is, he has started from 2,200 dhatus. Dhatu means the fundamental element. Like in chemistry, if we can talk about an element like carbon, hydrogen, etc. There are only so many elements. They say, when I studied, it was 108. Now it must have gone up to 120 or 130 elements. Let's say 125 elements. That's all there is in this world. There are only 125 elements. Everything else is a combination of these elements, correct? So same thing. Panini has said there are only 2,200 dhatus which have specific meanings. Like kr is a dhatu which has a specific meaning. Karane, dukrinch karane, kr. And then from kr you can form lot of words like karoti, does, karyam, work, kriya, work, action. All these words are coming from one root called Kri. And so somebody comes to you and says, I want to learn Sanskrit. And you give him Ashtadhyayi book. And that person will look at this and he will run away from Sanskrit. Okay? How to make a person run away from Sanskrit? I have just told you the recipe. Okay? So that means what? This is not the right thing. The person has to be, the person who is qualified for Ashtadhyayi is somebody who already has a reasonably good idea of Sanskrit, can read Sanskrit, can maybe read a few verses here. Bhagavad Gita is there, okay, verses can be read, and maybe the person also knows many words and can interpret some of these things. Then that person can pick up Ashtadhyayi and start studying. So much qualification is needed. So therefore, in order to prevent somebody from saying, hey, I studied Vedanta for so many years and nothing has happened, I don't understand anything. That possibility is there. And so our Shastra makes it clear, hey, sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha, we all have to be. And fair enough, we appreciate that because every subject there is this qualification needed. Any subject you talk, some qualification is needed. The girl going to kindergarten, they don't teach. Okay, today we are learning Newton's laws of physics. No teacher does that, and correctly they don't do all that stuff. We all understand what is to be given to whom. Perfect. So that is exactly what the purpose of sadhana chatushtayam here is. And so discriminative understanding of truth is what this person is seeking, and for that person is now qualified. Sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha tattvavivekasya adhikarinaha bhavanti. Okay. And last time there was a satsang question. So the question may arise, my goodness, all these big words are used, viveka, vairagya and all. Ichha rahityam is mentioned, no desires for all these things. Very strong words. And my life is full of desires. I have so many desires. Like these thoughts may all come. But not to worry. The beauty of Vedanta is we have to be somewhat qualified. Some to limited extent we all have. None of us is fully qualified. Then Vedanta does the trick. And the teaching does the trick. And slowly we will find ourselves becoming more and more qualified. We don't use the word qualified and all that. That is just a theoretical word we are saying here. But we find ourselves more and more liking the subject and understanding things. And without our knowledge, we begin to gain this viveka, vairagya, ityadi. Okay? That is the way we look at this. Okay. So this completes the initial portion where the author has talked about sadhana chatushtayam. Now, look at this. Now, next, she herself is asking the question, what is tattva viveka? So we are going to do that. So who has not got a chance to chant? Anybody? So looks like everybody did. Okay, Vishnu, go ahead, unmute yourself. Yeah, Vishnu, you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Yetat. Yeah, so next one. Tattvavivekah kaha.
Tattvavivekah kaha.
Atma satyam.
Atma satyam.
Tadanyat sarvam.
Tadanyat sarvam
mithyeti.
mithyeti.
Okay, you can mute yourself. So author, she's asking the question now. I introduced a word called Tattvabodha. So it is my responsibility to explain what that is. So she's asking, Tattvabodha kaha? What is Tattvabodha? And she's answering that. She says, Atma Satyam Tad Anyat Sarvam Mithyeti. So, a very loaded statement. Very loaded statement. Atma Satyam. Atma is Satyam. So remember, we have not defined Atma yet. She has introduced the word Atma. Then she has introduced the word Satyam. Again, new words. See, to describe one word, you need many words. So all that is slowly coming. Tad Anyat. Atma is Satyam. Atma is I'm hesitating because we will find that the word Satyam, we can say truth, but we need to understand what that is. Atma is Satyam. Tad Anyat Sarvam. Other than that, everything else is Mithya. The word here is, we are looking for is Mithya. Mithyeti. In Sanskrit, as I said before, sometimes words will join together and appear like one word to us. Like here, Mithyeti appears as one word. But really, there are two words standing next to each other, just shaking hands. And the two words are Mithya iti. So you can split it like that. Mithya is the one word and iti is the last word. Iti means in quotation. Iti typically means put everything in quotation. Tad Anyat Sarvam in quotation. If you put, that will be called Mithya. That is the way to read it. So we have to, now we are entering into a topic that is the crux of Vedanta, so to speak. Two words, Satyam and Mithya, are introduced. So what is Satyam? What is Mithya? This is the first job we have now, is to understand this. The word Satyam does not refer to any object. The word Mithya doesn't refer to any object. Like apple and banana and telephone and all these things. Son and daughter. No. Satyam doesn't refer to those things. Mithya doesn't refer to those things. You can't tell somebody, please get me half a bottle of, or half a glass of Satyam. Not possible. Unless you have a code language where Satyam means something. When I say Satyam, you please get that. You know what I mean? So code language is there, half a glass of Satyam. Because I don't want to use that word here. So Satyam, please get me some Satyam. Because that's the real thing, right? So it's called Satyam. No code language here. So no, Satyam is not an object. Satyam and Mithya are words which reveal to me the reality of objects, which allow me to express my understanding of objects, my understanding of reality of objects, if we can say that. So, if I say, what is this? This is an apple. This is an apple. So, if I ask the question, is apple real? Then we will say, of course, apple is real. And what is this? These are glasses, eyeglasses. Is this real? Of course, this is real. I can't I can't have unreal glasses and say I can see properly. I don't see properly now. I see properly now. So there has to be something real which converts the not able to see properly to able to see properly. There has to be real. And this apple better be real, because I'm hoping that this will satisfy my hunger when this hunger strikes after another hour. So better, this apple better be real. We can't go around saying this is an unreal apple. So real, these are all real objects. Anything we see here is real. The door is real. This fan up there, the ceiling fan, is of course real. I don't want an unreal fan here, because when summer strikes, it's a real fan that helps me. I know it helps me. It's got to be real. So many real things are there. We transact with real things in this world. Real son, real daughter, real father, mother, real job. Better be a real job, because I want real salary. If you want real salary, you better work in a real job, not in some kind of unreal job. What kind of job do you want? Do you want a real job or unreal job? Nobody asks this kind of question. Good. So many real things. We see this world. We see real things in this world. Everything in this world is real. Every phenomenon is real. Sunrise is real. Sun is real. Okay. What about unreal things? So what about the tail of a man? Tail of a man. Human beings don't have tails. So if somebody says tail of a person or tails of people, anatomy of tails of people, is there a subject like that? If I ask this Dr. Mohini ji, she will say, what are you talking? Human beings don't have tails. At least if you tell me a monkey's tail, has it been researched? I can figure out, I can go find out if they have researched the tails of monkeys. But human beings don't have tails. So a human tail, unreal. Shankaracharya uses some phrases like Shasha Vishana. Shasha Vishana. Vishana means horns. Shasha means rabbit. Rabbit's horns. You know the two big horns the rabbit has? Those horns I'm talking about. The two big, long, black horns of a rabbit. That's the one I'm talking about, right? Very clear contrast to the white rabbit and the black horns. How beautiful it looks, isn't it? Those horns I'm talking about. Those horns. No. That is unreal, because it doesn't exist. Rabbit's horns don't exist. So don't tell me about the color of rabbit's horns. This is a silly question, asking for the color of rabbit's horns. Shasha Vishanaha doesn't exist. In Sanskrit, there is a word for something that doesn't exist. That word is called tucham. Tucham. So you may want to make a note of that. Tucham. Tucham is non-existent. So like this, now if I ask you to start telling me things that are non-existent, you can tell me, you can invent with this creative mind. So I invented one thing. It's called, what is the 14th planet of this solar system? So Haim is a physicist and he knows so much, including astronomy. So I asked him, please tell me the 14th planet of the solar system. He says, which solar system? I said, this solar system of which Earth is also a planet, that solar system. Then he says, no, there is no such thing. And I thought maybe, when I studied physics in school so many decades ago, they taught me only 9 planets. So just like they are inventing new and new elements, the periodic table of elements is becoming bigger day by day. So maybe the solar system has become our idea of the solar system has become bigger now. Somebody has discovered a 10th planet, etc. Haim tells me, no, there is no 14th planet. So 14th planet of the solar system is Tucham, non-existent. Please draw a circular square. Please take a piece of paper. You're all knowledgeable people, and you can write, you can draw. Please draw for me a circular square. Difficult. This idea itself is difficult to comprehend. Not possible. A circle is possible, a square is possible. Circular square is Tucham. Not possible. So Tucham we have understood as something is a way to express the reality of things that do not exist. So when I say something is Tucham, that means that something is non-existent. Good. So we have understood Tucham. And we have to understand reality still. And we looked at many objects. Table, chair, desk, fan, house, building, road, city, planet, sun. My son, my daughter, my father, my mother, my family. All these are all real, we said. Existent. Tucham is non-existent. My idea of reality is that which is existent. That which is existing. Fine. This is our normal understanding of reality. Does it exist? Does it not exist? Or is it existent? Is it not existent? So, these words like Satyam, Mithya, Tucham, etc. These are all in English, they use a word called, they're ontological terms. Ontological terms. So a word in English called ontology means a study of existence, you can say. Study of existence of objects, roughly. I've not researched into what they do in ontology so much, but the word ontology means that. So these words are all ontological terms. So when I say, hey, this is an ontological term, you will immediately understand that that term is not an object like apple or banana. It is a term like Tucham, like non-existent, which tells me about the reality of something. Ontological terms. Okay. So now we have understood Tucham, and we will leave that aside. And we need to now understand Satyam. So we will come back to looking at the reality of an object. Let's take a table as an object for the analysis. So is table Satyam is the question. Is table real? Yeah, I see the table right here in front of me. And probably you're all seeing a table in front of you in your room. A wooden table. Yeah, it's real. Of course it's real. Okay, table is real. This is a wooden table, and I ordered it. I said, this is the way I want my table to be. I need it to have a particular shape. I need a particular drawer here on the side. All that specifications I gave. And this completely 100% wooden table is there right in front of me. Table is real, I say. Now I ask, is wood real or not? We're talking about a wooden table. We're not talking about some metallic table. Just as an example, I'm talking about a wooden table. Is wood real or not? I ask you. Wood is there or not? Yeah, wood is there. Therefore, wood is real. It's not unreal. Table is also real. Wood is also real. Good. Wood is also real. Table is real. Are these two things two different objects? Table is an object. Yes, I can visualize table. I know what object it is. Is wood an object also? When I tell you wood, when I tell you teak wood, you can appreciate it. You can appreciate it. In your mind, you have an idea of wood or teak wood. And does that idea require you to understand table? No, it doesn't require you to understand table, because wood is wood. You can look at the chair, you can look at a pot, flower vase. So many things are there made of wood, and there's a spatula that's also made of wood. You recognize wood. Wood is not steel. You recognize wood as not being aluminum. If you recognize wood as not plastic, you recognize wood as not any of the so many things out there. Correct? So, wood, I appreciate wood. And there is a table, I appreciate table also. Now, in this example of table, there are two words, table and wood. Table and wood. Are there two objects? That is my question. There are two words now. Are there two objects? That is the question. If you say one object, then what? Okay, one object, but there are two words. If there is only one object, but there are two words, what is the meaning? These two words are synonyms. If there is only one object and there are two words. So, pani, vellam. Pani is there, vellam is there. Sajiv Nair will say vellam. Okay, so vellam. So I don't understand vellam, but he understands vellam. I understand pani, he doesn't understand pani. But turns out there are two words which mean exactly the same thing. Identical, water. Okay, three words which mean the same thing, water. So two words, table and wood, which mean exactly the same thing. Or if you say one object only, they must mean the same thing. One object, two words. Yes or no? Are they synonyms? Table and wood? They are not synonyms, correct? They are not synonyms at all. Absolutely not. Table is something else, wood is something else. Two words which mean entirely different things. Table is there. I say the weight, the table weighs 30 kilograms, 30 kilos. Pretty heavy table actually. It's not possible for one person to lift it. The table weighs 30 kilos. I ask you this question. Does this weight of 30 kilos belong to the table, or does it belong to wood? Does the weight of 30 kilos belong to the table, or does it belong to wood? Okay? Because we can't ignore wood and we can't ignore table also. These two are staring in front of us, staring us. So we are forced to say, I hope, that the 30 kilos weight belongs to the wood. The carpenter, when he started making all this, he had all these wooden pieces lying around and he cut them, weighed them, put it into pieces, measured them, and he made it. So obviously, even before the table was made, the 30 kilos weight of stuff was there in front of him. So 30 kilos weight has been coming long before this table was even created. Correct? Even before the table was created, the weight, 30 kilo weight wood is there. Before the table was born, 30 kilo weight was there. So we can say, I think now you appreciate, we can now say, the weight of 30 kilos belongs to the wood. It doesn't belong to table. For now, we have to say that. The wood is brown in color. The table is brown in color. Now the question is, the brownness belongs to the table or does it belong to wood? Is the question I'm asking. The brownness belongs to the table or does it belong to wood? We are constrained to say the color brownness also belongs to wood. Why it belongs to wood? Because if wood decides tomorrow, I am tired of being here and I am tired of this family. We fight with each other all the time. The door says, this dryer on top of me constantly is making noise and I am tired of being here. I want to walk away from it. And everybody fights with each other. They all decide, we are going our own ways. We need our quiet time. We need our independent spaces. And we don't like this family. This family better be alone. Let's be happy alone. So the door decides that, the drawer decides that, the tabletop decides that, and they all walk away. The color is gone, but the door still has that color. The door has the weight. The tabletop has the color and weight. The drawer also has the color and weight. I look around, table is gone. Okay. So therefore, you can't say that the color belongs to the table. The color and the weight seems to belong to the wood. Correct? They seem to be attributes of wood. They don't seem to be attributes of the table. Okay? So we are now beginning to appreciate that this table is a weightless table. Look at that. Only yesterday he delivered the table. 3 men lifted it because it's not possible to lift this table by one person, and 2 flights of stairs also, and they lifted it and I tipped them also. And now today I am saying this is a weightless table. We have reduced a 30 kilogram table into a weightless table. Welcome to Vedanta. Welcome to Vedanta. Okay. This is where Vedanta begins. Weightless table, colorless table also. And this is mind-boggling. The table does not have any weight. The table has no color. Yet the table is. How can you deny the table, Jayakumar ji? How can you deny it? It is there. I use the table. Without the table, the laptop doesn't exist. I can't work. So many books are stacked on the table. What are you saying? Yeah, I'm saying the table is weightless. The table is colorless. Nice smell of this wood. That belongs to wood. Odor also belongs to wood. Odor also doesn't belong to table. Finished. The table has, poor table is now, its character is just destroyed completely. Okay. So we are now faced with a weightless table and colorless table. But if I ask you, is table tucham? Is table tucham means what? Is table non-existent? If I ask you, what will you say? No, table is not non-existent. What do you mean table is non-existent? Table is very much existent. So, this so-called weightless table, colorless table, which of course has some existence, which is not tucham, which is not non-existent. But at the same time, it is not as existent as wood, as real as wood. Okay, now I'm using these words. Table is not as real as wood, because the wood seems to have all these properties of weight, of color, of odor, of opacity. All these are properties of the wood. Wood is opaque. And table is, I don't know what this table is. So all these properties belong to wood, but yet there is a table. That entity, which doesn't seem to have as real an existence as something else like wood, such an entity is called mithya. So an entity which does not have the reality that we think it has, whose reality, whose existence depends on something else for its reality, for its existence, is called mithya. Okay? What is mithya? Mithya is that whose existence depends on something else. If you can put it simply, whose existence depends on something else. Mithya is that which depends on something else for its existence. That much we can appreciate now, I think. Because table depends on wood for its existence. Okay? So, therefore, look at our Shastra. In English, there is only one word. If I ask you, is table real? You will say yes. If I ask you if wood is real, you will say yes. So both wood is real and table is real. But what we are saying is, the reality of the table depends on the reality of wood. Therefore, these two realities are different. Wood is real by itself and table is not real by itself. It is borrowing its existence from wood. Table is borrowing its existence from so many pieces of wood, and that reality is different than the reality of wood. Therefore, our Shastra says wood is Satyam and table is Mithya. Wood is Satyam and table is Mithya. Remember that both Satyam and Mithya are ontological terms which allow me to express my idea of reality of beings, things. Then I say wood is Satyam, table is Mithya. Because table's existence and wood's existence are not identical. Not identical. Different types of existence. We are not denying that table exists. We are not denying wood exists. Both exist. But table's existence is somewhat shaky. Somewhat shaky. It can't claim. It is like an illegal alien. Passport nahi hai. So he is scared a little bit. Any day these fellows can come and they find out the truth of me, they can arrest me. That kind of existence this table has. It's so, as long as you don't ask the question, It says, I am a majestic oak table, like that it says. But when you start asking questions, bit shaky ho gaya. Okay. So it is trying to make peace with all these various door and all these things. Hey, hang around. We are all a happy family. That kind of existence is mithya. So relative to mithya, an existence which does not depend on anything else, is called satyam. Okay? Understood now? Dependent existence is mithya. Independent existence is satyam. An existence that depends on something else is mithya. An existence that does not depend on something else, that self exists, is satyam. See, quietly I introduce another word called self-existent. Because if an existence does not depend on something else, it must self-exist, correct? That is why I introduced the word self-existent. Therefore, satyam means self-existent. Mithya means not self-existent. Can't exist by itself. Okay? So this is satyam and mithya. So it's 7 o'clock now. We will pause with a prarthana. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaah go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam lokas samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshobarahitah brahmana santu nirbhayaah om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayah sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritangamaya om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate om shanti 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 harihi om shri gurubhyo namaha harihi om